Hello, everyone. So, did you hear the news? Katy Perry, as well as a few other gals, flew up to space, and Jeff Bezos, I think it's Blue Horizon, I think is what it's called. But we've heard the news about it and stuff. But there was this one clip of Katy Perry, and I'll show it to you guys. It's so funny. Let's hear it.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey, and it was a supernatural one. And my journey has always been about love and belonging. And I think that we have all felt that sometimes we weren't worthy or we didn't belong in certain ways, no matter all the accolades, no matter all the studying, no matter anything. And I think today we all said it, like, we belong here. Mm-hmm. This is where we belong, and we feel very sure of that. So I think that you'll never know the amount of love that you have inside of you to give and to receive until the day you launch, because you're leaving all the love behind and you're surrendering and you're hoping that you get another chance to love them again. And so when you come back down, you're like, oh, I get another chance and I'm gonna do it.
Oh my God, now I'm crying. Okay.
Oh my God, now I'm crying. It's like, we're not going to space, or we're not taking up space. We are creating space. What the what? So silly. God, who talks like that? Anyway, thought I would show that because it's funny. Let's see, what's next? Carmelo Anthony. Is that his name? Carmelo Anthony? A 17-year-old made famous for stabbing Austin Metcalf in the chest after he asked him to move seats. The courts have lowered his bail from $900,000 to $400,000, and he is being released from jail because they paid his bail in full. He also raised enough money to be able to buy a home, a $900,000 home. So he's doing okay. This is the best thing he ever did. But, it just makes it, that's getting brought up, and it's really, things like this happen. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, right? Not in this case, I'm not, but when things like this happen, you always go, it's weird. So another thing, AOC and Bernie Sanders were in Kern County yesterday, and I got a few clips of going out there and talking to the people who attended. They said there was 1,000 people outside. There was like 200. But so I got some clips of that. Interviewed some people. That was pretty fun. I was surprised. They were actually really nice. We were going there and screaming MAGA and everything, but they ended up being pretty nice, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, one of the young Republicans, he actually posted this. It's so interesting. He posted the jet they flew in on, so they caught them with the jet that they flew in on. And it is a Challenger, a 604 Challenger, and it costs nearly $30 million to occupy 19 people, and it would burn 21,000 gallons of fuel to do a one-way across the country. It's a $30 million jet, and it costs $30,000 to rent for a one-way trip. So, they're coming over here screaming. I mean, it's just the epitome of hypocrisy, really. It's pretty funny. But, anyway, back to the Anthony Carmelo thing. It's just interesting. I mean, in this case, obviously, what happened. There's not, it doesn't seem like there's some conspiracy theories behind it. But, it is telling. It's like we've all heard conquer and divide. We all know that's like a what book is that in? Like the Book of Five Rings. It's like the number one way you try to dismantle another country is by divide and conquer. I've heard it so many times. And it seems like we're not looking enough into like who is doing the dividing. It's like we know that other countries are putting money in our colleges and they're doing things in order to divide us on purpose because they don't want our interests. They want to hurt our country, and we know that the CIA and the intelligence agencies, they run, propaganda in the media of different countries. We do it to them, they do it to us. I think everybody who's in politics and kind of pays attention at this point after COVID knows that. But what's so surprising to me is like we're hearing these things, and you don't want to be too much. You don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. But if another country was to try to control the United States, what would be the way they would do it? I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that maybe they're purposely trying to divide us. And I know on the right we often complain about illegal immigrants and abortion. Those are the two main things those are some of the big things we complain about. Because why? It's like, well, it's pretty simple. Our country is made up of the people that were within it and the borders. And so we don't want to kill our own people, and we don't want people from other countries coming here, like an invasion, right? And then, that's pretty simple. Let's just look at what would happen if that were to occur, like causing the makeup of the country to instead being, a minority group who holds the power. If it wasn't a minority group, intrinsically they would care about the country. If we were all one people, right? But if we're a bunch of fractured minority groups, then we would effectively be the United States, but we wouldn't be united. We'd be the states, in essence, right? Maybe not the states in border lines, but between groups of people. And, just like the Metcalf thing happened, and just like other instances in history, it seems like these groups of people, there's going to be instances like this where, you become tribal, and when, like in my eyes, I'm looking at the case, I'm going, okay, the guy asked him to move. He apparently grabbed his backpack, threw the backpack, and then the guy said, if you touch me, see what happens. So he touched him, and the guy stabbed him. And so is he right to do that by the law? Well, no. In my eyes, no. Should he be tried for murder? Yes. But you're seeing all these people online that are of the different group of people that Carmelo Anthony belongs to, and they seem to be like wholeheartedly in belief that he was in fact right to do so. And it just goes to show you, they try to drive down our throats so much about that. We have to look past race, which we do. But in these instances, it really shows when it's kind of hard to do that, And I don't say that like with a smile on my face. It sucks. That's the way it is, but it is the way it is. It's the reality of the environment we live in. And if you look at other places, like, okay, for instance, our intelligence group, the CIA. How does the CIA go about overthrowing other countries? Something we can see. This is not conspiracy. This is tangible proof that you can look into. What do? Well, they take disenfranchised groups, and every country has somewhat different disenfranchised group, but predominantly that most of them have the same groups, which are women, which are minorities. And what do? They empower them. They mobilize them. They aggravate them. They put in front of them instances like this Carmelo Anthony incident that aggravates everybody and divides everybody. Divide and conquer. And then they run people that are funded by the CIA in order to take over that country, and that's how they do it. That's the way that they establish our interests in other countries, and we know it. It's a fact. If you don't think so, look at Ukraine, right? But what I'm asking, and I probably get some flack for asking this, but are we in our own crosshairs? Are we in the CIA's crosshairs? And what does that look like? Like, are we actually, are we getting a taste of our own medicine per se? I mean, I think after COVID and with online, with Elon Musk buying Twitter and freedom of speech and everything that's, freedom coming, I know me, myself, I had a set of beliefs, and I was, I work for the Republican, or I work with the Republican Party, and I'm a young Republican, and everything was so politically driven on each side. But now through COVID, and then you realize all the lies that were told and how they were flip-flopping. Everybody was flip-flopping. Not just the left, but the right too. Trump sped up the vaccine, right? I mean, he did a lot of things that, if you ask anybody, they'll say, oh no, that was great. But then if you told them that the left did it, then they're like, yeah, of course they did. They're just bought out by big pharma. But he's not. It's, it's like the worst of, or the, what is it? The, choose the worst of two evils. Okay, you can argue that. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I voted for Trump. I like Trump, obviously, But it's important to, go through your own party sometimes and look and go, are we being told the truth in every instance? I don't know. We know that the government lies to us, and sometimes maybe it is for the greater good of our nation. It's not a conspiracy. There's many instances that are proven. I don't you can Google them if you want. I think you can Google like all the times U.S. government has lied to its people. There's like 6 or something, the ones we know about. So we know that's true. Now, is it happening to us? Are they trying to divide us? Are they trying to conquer us? And who is it? What group of people is it? Are they another nation? Are they a foreign nation? Are they coming from somewhere else? Are they the Chinese? Are they the Jews? Are they the Europeans? Who are they? Well, if you look into who funds the campaigns of both the Democrats and the Republicans, and you can do that your research on your own, and who controls the CIA, which is the group of people doing this, that are responsible, or that seems to be in the forefront of everybody's eyes that do it. We know who that group of people is. And if you don't know who it is, then you can just look and see yourself. But some of the things that they do that I notice, and that's worrying to me, is that they control our media, our financial system, and they've controlled our media and our financial system for a long time. They've done it for a long time. It's not like recent. They didn't just come over and start doing it. It's like, no, they've done it from the beginning, pretty much from the conception. Maybe, well, not quite the conception, but pretty dang close to it. And when you find out who this group of people is, you'll notice, they own the media. They own the majority of the media. Not all, right? Some people that will say, that will like disavow this conspiracy theory, is that they're like, well, they don't own everything. They don't own all the banks. But they own most of them. And like the amount of people that there are of them, but the amount of stuff they own is very like, whoa, they're overrepresented in these areas. And that is the media, the financial system, which is pretty much the backbone of everything. If you control the financial system, you control everything. And then the CIA. Now, I'll leave it up to you to try to figure it out, but I think they've controlled the West for a long time. And they're slowly implementing their plan of dismantling the masculinity that protects our nation. Because there's one thing protecting our nation. It's the men of this country. That's who protects the nation, Feminists don't want to hear that, but it is true. And just like at your home, when someone breaks into your house, who do you wake up to go protect you? You're not waking up Granny, right? And that's okay. Everyone has their position of what they do. Everyone does their own thing, right? Doesn't put anybody down by saying that. You shouldn't feel bad for saying that. But this group of people promotes everything that dismantles the family union. Even just saying that right now, you feel a little bit uncomfortable saying that, the man's the one who protects the home. Why would you feel uncomfortable with saying that. We should start really thinking about that. Because, they're dismantling the family unit. That's what they're trying to do. They do it through porn. They do it through music. They do it through movies. They do it through TV shows. They do it through feminist movements. They do it through wars in other countries, sending us to wars in other countries. And then, the big one is mass immigration. And they latch onto these things, and they try to make it seem like those things are noble. Their ultimate goal is to conquer and divide, and the fact that we are so stupid and we support either political parties when we know that they control each side. Trump closes the border, which we're like, oh, that's great, but we're not hardly deporting anybody that we thought we would, right? And then now he's offering gold cards, which are like, well, but those people have money and those people have skills, but yeah, so what? They're not American. And they're coming here. There's a certain amount of immigration, I understand that, right? From people who are good people. So these are better than the people just coming in from the southern border. 100% agree. Lesser of two evils. But still yet, they're still immigrating here. And how many people are going to be buying these gold cards? And who are they? If they just buy them, what's the vetting process on that? So, like I said, they control both sides. So once they just repackage immigration in a different way. But we're still getting the same result, which is a bunch of minorities within a country that are all divided, and then makes dividing the country a lot easier through instances like the Carmelo event and Anthony event. And the media promotes it. Whatever the media promotes, who they control the media, whatever the media promotes, that will be at the forefront of everybody's mind. They could probably throw this story down the rug if they have the power to do it. They could probably push this story down, and everyone would stop talking about it within 2 days. But they're not gonna. They're gonna keep it in the forefront of everything. So, the gold card stuff is like the people coming in with the gold card are like people who work in tech. So, people from the Middle East and people from India, right? Another big groups. They're gonna, they're not just gonna. It's not just gonna be Mexicans coming in. They're the new majority, and then they take over, and then they're the majority. It's not going to be that. They're going to have an equal amount of Indians, Middle Easterns, all these different groups, Asians come in, so that there's a bunch of fractured groups. Then it makes them as a minority more powerful as a minority, especially if they control all these different aspects of what we got. They control us currently.
Jake Panero just sent me a text. Ken, okay.